What is up, everybody? Back at it again with another episode of Initial Dweebs. Today is a special episode. We are going to be showing you, or I'm going to be showing you, my Honda Civic that I made a slight appearance in another episode. But I've been wanting one of these for a very, very long time. I bought it about 6 months ago, and it's been a total dream. So let's just get straight into it. I'm going to start showing you guys all of its quirks and everything like that. So let's get it. All right, here it is. This is my 1986 Honda Civic SI in the Greek white. I've been looking for one of these for over 10 years because my first car was actually a white Honda Civic SI 86, identical to this car, and I've been chasing that nostalgia ever since and just keeping my eye on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and wherever to try to find one of these again. And one popped up about 5 or 6 months ago, and I just had to pull the trigger on it. These cars are amazing because they have a long history of racing in Japan. They're great cars. They're sporty. They're kind of the bastard child of Civics because not many people like these. I mean, they've gained a lot of popularity recently because I think they've become so classic that they've kind of become cool for everybody. But in the past, like, nobody messed with these Hondas. Nobody wanted this year. Everybody wanted the EF and up, and you know, I always like these ones the best. So it was interesting that I waited until they got kind of expensive to buy one finally, but it is what it is. I have it. I'm so excited to show you guys and to just dive right into everything that's here. There's a lot to unpack. Since I purchased this car about 5 or 6 months ago, I've put almost 20,000 miles on it. When I purchased the car, it had 257,000 miles, and now it's at 273, I believe. So since buying the car, I've had to do a couple things on it. I had to do the fuel pump, I had to do the alternator and the brake booster, but besides that, this thing has been amazing. I drive it over 150 miles every day to work, and it's just a blast. The car's a little bit beat up, you know, as you would expect, but the interior's all there, and it's definitely a really nice base to start with. So since I got this car, I've done some mods on it. One of the things that I did on it is I installed these fogs with the fog covers. I always like the way the fogs look on these kind of particular Civics, and the first Civic I bought had fogs that were similar to this, but they were the OEM ones. In bad taste, because I was such a noob at the time, I ripped the stock OEM fogs off and threw them away, as well as my first one came with the optional bumpers, the little rubber bumpers that go on the bumper, and those were amazing. I ripped those off too. This is my new slate. I get to do it right this time with everything I've learned over the past, 15 plus years. One of the things that I did on this thing was I cracked the headlights open, and this is something I used to do back in the day on all my Civics and any of my friends' Civics that I can get my hands on. I cracked open the headlights and I painted the inside of the glass black, and it's like kind of like a do-it-yourself black housing headlight, and I just love the way it looks. It adds like a whole dimension to the OEM headlights. So I did that. I also did the 2010 Honda fanboy type thing, and I ambered the corners. Some people hate it, some people don't hate it. I have clear stuff on some of my other cars, but I thought, I'm gonna go amber with this car and kind of see how I like it. Another thing I did to this thing was they don't really make window visors for these things. They have a rare OEM option that's really expensive and hard to find. So Casey had some extra CRV window visors. So what I did is I took the front one and the back one, and I cut the back one and I cut the front one, and I put them together to extend it. And it actually is like the perfect shape for this window. See, it goes over the mirror. And yeah, it actually looks pretty good. I have to buy some more to do the other side, but I'm actually really happy with it. I'm gonna have to work on this a little bit of filler there to really finalize it. But yeah, it's been on there for months, and I have had no problems with it. And I really like the vibe that it puts off. Another thing that I did on this thing, which I also did back in the day on pretty much all my cars, I've also done it on my 8.6 with the USDM Koki tails, is I tinted the entire taillights red. So they used to have like amber right here. They were kind of like a lighter red. So I did like a dark cherry. I clear coated them, I buffed them out. And yeah, I really like the way the all red taillights look on this particular car. So the wheels that are on this car are, I think, Rodas. I'm not sure exactly the brand. I think they're Rodas, but I 3D printed these nifty caps. Basically clip into where the center cap would clip into, but they come up all the way around and cover the lugs. So I think it gives like a nice old school look, and the multi-lug look just looks cheap. So I thought I might as well 3D print design something, and I actually really like the way they look. I might get some decals or something to make it look a little bit more old school. I'll show you guys the other side so you can kind of see what they look like. So this is what the wheel looks like without the covers. Definitely a lot uglier in my opinion. I like the covers a lot. So yeah, I 3D printed another set for this side, and in this video I'll be painting them white and snapping them on this side, so this side can match the other side. So this car is not perfect by any means. It's definitely beat up, but you know, you got to work with what you got. You guys already know that I can do body work. I'm definitely going to be doing a bunch of body work on it and fixing it up. I went to the junkyard up in Paulsbo and I found one of these 1500S white and gray two-tone, and I actually took like all the parts off of it. I have a spare hood, spare front valance, spare trunk, spare door. I cut the entire, because this is the worst part about this car, is this damage right here and then this damage right here. So what I did is I cut the entire rocker panel out of the other car all the way up to here and across. So when I do decide to start working on the bodywork on this, I'm going to just weld a new panel in for this whole side. This trim I took off because I'm actually reproducing the trim on these cars. These cars have like really crappy beat up trim. They're impossible to find. They go for a lot of money. So I started 3D printing and designing and reproducing trim, and it's actually turning out pretty good. So this right here is part of the reproduction that I did for this trim. This is something that I 3D printed, and actually it's 3D printed in two pieces and glued together. And right here is where these blocks can go into that house OEM clips from a newer Civic that actually clip in. So it'll actually snap right into place. But this is kind of what the reproduction is starting to look like. It's actually turning out really good, and I think it's going to help a lot of people if I can actually pull this off. I also have the whole door and the fender trim already designed, and I have the door trim mostly printed out. It just needs to be tested out and you know, go through all the R&D of all that stuff. But yeah, this is basically what I've been working on. That's why there's no trim on here. Also, in the spirit of 3D printing, this car is supposed to have an SI badge around here, and it never came with an SI badge, and I never had an SI badge. So what I did is I started reproducing the SI badge. So I had a friend take measurements of his and send me the measurements, and then I took a picture online and I basically modeled an SI badge, a reproduction SI badge, but I also did it out of white, which is, you know, not OEM, but might be cool for some people if they want the option. So I got a dark red, a white, and a bright red. So I might as well stick one of these on here. If any of you guys are interested in any of these 3D printed reproduction parts, let me know. I'll be selling these badges on eBay. That looks pretty good. And this is the white. I like the white because it's like the DX is white, so it's kind of like a spin-off of the DX badge, but it's also SI. So that looks pretty cool. And then here's the dark one. This is my favorite one. It's a little bit more nonchalant. I think it looks a little bit more OEM, but I don't know which one I want to stick on here, to be honest. The bright one's kind of cool too. Right here is my pride and joy about this car. This was the main selling point for me when it came to buying this car, is the interior is all there. It's not perfect. There are some typical spots like the back seats coming up, but that is pretty normal for these kinds of cars. My main concern was that everything is here and the interior is really nice and clean. A couple mods that I did the interior is I put these P2M AE86 checkered floor mats in here. I just love the way the checkered mats look. I have those mats also in my 86. I also did a Momo Monte Carlo steering wheel with the Energy quick release, and it's just the perfect wheel for this car in my opinion. Here's the 273,000 miles. The dash is absolutely perfect. It came with the OEM tape deck, and oh my god, I love that. I nerd out on this all day. I have a little Bluetooth FM transmitter. It works amazing. I 3D printed this Honda blanking plate that covers up the little tape thing. I'm working on, this is just a prototype, but I'm working on a version that actually has a hinge on it and opens up like this and then can close. So I'm working on that too, so if anybody's interested, let me know. I will definitely be finishing that out at some point and putting it on my eBay. I also 3D printed this shift knob, which is pretty cool. And yeah, this just interior is amazing. Everything's here, everything works. It's got AC, back seats are all there, the back of the car is good. I can put my kid in here It's totally fine. One of the best things and one of the coolest things about these Civics is you got so much headroom. You can have your tall homies ride back here, no problem. But also check this out. The rear seats actually recline. That's crazy, right? And then if you pull this to the side, you can actually slide this whole thing back and forth like the front seats do. I'm not gonna do it because it's hard to do with one hand, but yeah, these recline. You can sit them straight up, and yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like, I love that feature. Now that we've touched bases on the gist of the car, the story, and everything else that goes with it, in this video I want to address one of the things that's been bothering me the most about this car, and that is the 273,000 mile engine bay. So let's get right into it. All right, here it is. Here's the engine bay, 270,000 plus miles. Thing runs and drives great. It's really not that bad, but I like to clean up things when I can. I replaced a couple things in this car since I got it. I put a new brake booster in it and a new alternator. Other than that, and the fuel pump that I replaced, this thing has been so good to me. I put almost 20,000 miles on it in the past like 6 months. But as you can see, it is very, very dirty, very grimy, and we're going to address that today. So I have this pressure washer, I have a thing of Purple Power, I got some brake clean, some brushes, and basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to clean this whole engine bay up, take the valve cover off, refinish the valve cover, and just kind of give this thing a new life. When I do have to work on it, I'm a little less dirty, a little less greasy, and it just gives you the peace of mind that there's nothing better than buying a car and then just power washing the engine bay and just seeing the before and after. All right, the engine bay is clean. As you've seen in the videos, it's really not that hard to do. It's just some scrubbing and the little trick with the tire shine on the black bits. I learned that from a dealership. It's just temporary, but it definitely looks really nice when you do it. And yeah, it definitely came out really clean. I was trying to blast as much of the black powder coating off of the intake manifold as I could, because obviously I'm not going to redo this wrinkle black yet until I can, you know, get the gaskets and remove the intake manifold to have it redone, maybe powder coated. And I also try to blast as much paint off the valve cover as I can, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the valve cover right now. I'm going to wire it down and I'm going to re-wrinkle it black. But look how nice that turned out. It's definitely not perfect, but it's a night and day difference for sure. Like, look at the distributor. It's amazing. Like, for how greasy it was at the beginning, it definitely turned out way better than it was. And it'll definitely be a lot easier to work on shit in here without getting all greasy. All right, so I'm gonna pull the valve cover off, which is only these 2 bolts, which is pretty funny when you think about it. You think that this would leak a lot more, but yeah, it's just these 2 10 millimeter caps, and the whole valve cover comes right off. So let's get it. All right, the valve cover is off, and basically now what I'm going to be doing is taking brake clean, this red Scotch-Brite pad, and also the wire wheel on the impact, and getting all this paint off. And once that's done, I'll use this black wrinkle finish on there, and then once that's all dry, I'll take sandpaper and I'll sand all of these lines to where they're silver again, and then we'll put it back together. Here's what it looks like with the valve cover off. The inside of the head actually looks really good. There's no like real grime or, you know, baked on oil. It actually looks, for a car that has 270,000 miles, it looks pretty good. Let's also take a look at the bottom of the valve cover and see how that looks. That actually looks pretty good as well. Definitely somebody has done the valve cover gasket recently, and it actually is still pretty soft, so I could probably just keep that and just re-RTV these corners. But yeah, so very simple valve cover, just 2 studs and that's it. Just comes right off. So I'm gonna get straight into wire wheeling this off. All right, guys, it is all sanded down and wire wheeled down. There's some spots here and there, but it's pretty much as good as it's gonna get without me like using aircraft stripper or something on it. But you know, later on and down the road, I'm going to have this and the intake manifold powder coated. This just is to spiff up the engine bay for now, so I'm not expecting it to last forever, but I did sand it down. I wire wheeled the whole thing, and then I hit it with 180, and then I hit it with 220, and then I cleaned it with wax and grease, taped off what I needed to tape off. I also hit all this top piece with a file to sharpen up all the edges to give it kind of a sharper look. I tried to tape these off and do the whole sand on the side and peel them off, but the tape that I have is crappy. If I had some good tape, I probably could have pulled it off. So I'm just gonna have to paint all of it and then just take the paint off later, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. So we're gonna get right into painting this, and hopefully it doesn't take forever to dry. All right, so what you wanna do with wrinkle finish is you wanna do like a light coat on the whole thing, let it tack up, and then do a little bit heavier coat, let it tack up, and then you're gonna wanna freaking flood it on. This stuff is really thick, and basically the thicker you can get it, the better the finish it's gonna be. It kind of goes against the conventional way of spraying things. So yeah, let's see what we can do here. All right, we're gonna let that tack up, and then we're gonna come back and hit it with some even crazier coats. While we're waiting for that to tack up, I was gonna show you guys this really nifty 3D printed cap. It's the same one as the white one that's on that wheel, except I have to paint it white. I'm probably not gonna get to that today. My back is already spent doing all this stuff. So in the next video I do with this car, I'll paint these white, and I will pop them onto the wheels on the other side. But yeah, this is pretty much what it looks like. It has it's basically shaped like a cap, and it just pops in there, And it has this little recess on each side, so you can stick a little screwdriver in there and pop them out if you need to take the wheel off. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of these. So it's not too hot out here. I've been hitting with the heat gun, but look at this. You can see it wrinkling in real time as I'm hitting it with the heat gun, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, usually what I would do is I'd either put this in the sun or I'd put a box over the top of it, and then I'd put the heat gun through a hole in the box and I just kind of bake it. But I don't have any boxes right now, so I'm just kind of heating it up, going over it, and you could see it's doing its thing right as we speak. Pretty interesting stuff. Now that it's all wrinkled up, but it's not fully dry, I've actually been using this razor blade to scrape the paint off and then wipe it off with the microfiber, and it's actually working pretty well. So I'm going to start doing that, and in the least it'll save me a bunch of sanding at the end when it's fully dried, even if I don't get it all off in one go. But yeah, I mean, that's a pretty nifty technique. Alright, I can't lie, that turned out really good. I got a little bit careless and I nicked it right there. I am kind of butthurt about that, but I think the clutch cable will cover that. But besides that big uh-oh, it actually turned out really good. Smearing or scraping it off while it was still wet with the razor blade, and then using a little bit of brake clean on a rag to wipe it off actually turned out really well. So definitely have to do that in the future when I do this again on another car. But yeah, this thing turned out really good. It's starting to look like it might rain. It's getting kind of windy, so I might have to not even wait until this fully dries to put it on there. I might have to just kind of try to put it on there without fucking it up and see what happens. All right, she's back in. It looks so good in there. Definitely in complete transformation as far as how it looked before. I'll definitely throw in some before and after shots right here. Yeah, well, that is a wrap. It definitely looks way better. I did the oil change, got everything taken care of on here. Definitely going to work on cleaning it up even more in the future. I started 3D printing these little brackets here for the little clips for the spark plugs. This is out of polycarbonate. I have the other ones. I just have to reattach them. But yeah, that's going to make it cleaned up. That's going to make it look a lot cleaner in here as well. Probably get some new spark plug wires, maybe some NGKs. But yeah, I'm really, really, really stoked on how this all turned out. All right, everybody, that is a wrap. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed the Civic content as much as it was enjoyable for me to work on this thing all day and share it with you guys. The bay turned out absolutely amazing, and I totally look forward to more projects on this car in the future. 3D printing stuff, buying new parts, restoring it, painting it, all those things, and I'm super happy to have you guys along for the ride. So stay tuned. More Civic episodes are definitely going to be coming out in the near future. If you like what you see, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys again for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.